Something strange is happening in Cleveland. A team once hailed for its defensive grit now finds itself trapped in offensive chaos. And at the center of it all stands a quarterback controversy no one saw coming. Dillon Gabriel, the man once expected to carry the Browns forward, has become the face of frustration. Missed reads, stalled drives, and a string of underwhelming performances have left fans wondering how much longer Kevin Stefanski can keep defending him. But as the losses pile up, whispers around the locker room are growing louder. Whispers about a young man with a famous name and a reputation for showing up when it matters most. Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur isn't just any rookie. He's the son of one of football's biggest legends. But more importantly, he's a player who's carried an entire college program on his back before. His poise, accuracy, and confidence made him a star long before he ever put on a Browns jersey. And now, with the team struggling to move the ball, fans are asking one burning question. Is it finally time for Shedeur Sanders to take over? Even Kevin Stefanski seems to be running out of patience. In a rare moment of public honesty, he admitted what many have been thinking, that the offense just isn't clicking, that turnovers are killing momentum. And that something has to change before the season slips away. Some say Stefanski's comments were a signal, a quiet acknowledgement that the Gabriel experiment may be coming to an end. Across social media, analysts and insiders are already debating it. Could Shedeur's debut be the spark that rescues Cleveland's season? Or will the pressure crush him before he even gets a fair shot? Because if there's one thing Cleveland fans know too well, hope can turn to heartbreak in a single game. And this time, the stakes couldn't be higher. Before the noise, before the headlines, Shedeur Sanders was already built for the spotlight. Growing up under the shadow of Deion "Primetime" Sanders, football wasn't just a game. It was an expectation. But Shedeur didn't ride his father's fame. He earned his own. From his early days at Jackson State to becoming the face of Colorado football, Sanders developed a reputation for precision, patience, and an unshakable calm under pressure. At Jackson State, he shattered school records and led his team to back-to-back championship appearances, showing an ability to read defenses and command an offense like a seasoned pro. When he transferred to Colorado, the stage grew, but so did his game. Despite the criticism and constant media attention, Shedeur delivered highlight after highlight, throwing dimes under pressure and proving he wasn't just Deion's son. He was a quarterback with his own story to write. Still, when draft day came, many were shocked to see him fall to the 5th round. Some said it was because of his personality, too confident, too outspoken. Others claimed teams questioned whether his college stats would translate to the NFL. But in Cleveland, those doubts only fueled him. For Shedeur, every rep, every throw, and every criticism is motivation. He's been underestimated before, and each time, he's answered with performance. The question now isn't whether he has the talent, it's whether the Browns will finally give him the chance to prove it. The Browns already had a crowded quarterback room. Veterans like Joe Flacco and promising newcomer Dillon Gabriel were expected to hold things down. Shedeur, a 5th-round pick, was supposed to sit, learn, and wait his turn. But from the moment he stepped onto the practice field, it was clear he wasn't built to blend in. Teammates talked about his composure, how he carried himself like a starter even when running scout team drills. Coaches noticed his accuracy and timing, his ability to stay calm even when the pocket collapsed. But for every flash of brilliance, there was also hesitation from the staff. Was he ready? Could a rookie with no NFL experience handle the pressure of saving a struggling franchise? Still, whispers began to spread around camp. "He's different," one player reportedly said. "He just sees the game in slow motion." And with the offense sputtering, those whispers are quickly turning into calls for a change. The few moments Shedeur Sanders has stepped onto the field have been enough to stir a storm in Cleveland. His preseason debut against the Carolina Panthers wasn't just impressive, it was eye-opening. With almost no reps during practice, Sanders came off the bench cold and started dropping absolute dimes. He finished the game with 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. More importantly, he looked poised, unshaken, precise, and confident. Analysts called it the best the Browns' offense had looked all season. Fans couldn't believe how effortlessly he operated the pocket, scanning, reading, and delivering strikes with surgical timing. For a team that had been struggling to find rhythm, Shedeur's brief appearance felt like a glimpse of what the future could look like. But the coaching staff wasn't ready to hand him the keys just yet. Kevin Stefanski emphasized patience and development, suggesting that Shedeur still needed time to adapt to the NFL's speed and complexity. Even so, his short performance left an impression that couldn't be ignored. As the losses mounted and Gabriel continued to stumble, that game against the Panthers started to feel less like a fluke and more like a preview. The city saw it, the analysts saw it, and now even the locker room can feel it. If this is what Sanders can do without preparation, what happens when he's actually given the offense? Dillon Gabriel was supposed to be the bridge, the steady, efficient quarterback who could manage games while the team built chemistry. But instead, he's become the symbol of everything that's gone wrong with Cleveland's offense. The Browns are averaging less than 15 points a game, and most drives end the same way, short of the chains, full of hesitation, and often with a turnover. Gabriel's completion rate hovers barely above 50%, and his supposed strength, mobility, has produced little impact. The rushing game has stalled, and his pocket presence has disappeared under pressure. Kevin Stefanski, usually composed, finally admitted what fans had long noticed. The offensive scheme just isn't working. But more tellingly, he stopped defending Gabriel. Instead, Stefanski pointed to poor execution and a lack of spark, both qualities that Shedeur Sanders brings in abundance. The truth is hard to ignore now. One quarterback looks lost, while the other looks ready. And as Cleveland's frustrations grow louder, the calls for change are turning into demands. The question is no longer if the switch happens, but when. For every fan ready to crown Shedeur Sanders as Cleveland's savior, there's another urging caution. The NFL has crushed countless college stars who looked unstoppable on Saturdays, but couldn't adjust to Sunday. And no rookie can thrive under constant pressure. Even the greats needed time, patience that Cleveland fans rarely give. Then there's the off-field noise. Shedeur's confidence and social media presence draw massive attention, something some veterans view as a distraction. His recent speeding citation only added fuel for skeptics who claim he needs to mature before being handed the franchise reins. Analysts are split. Some believe his calm demeanor and film study habits make him more prepared than most rookies. Others insist he's walking into a losing situation, where even talent won't be enough to save him. Kevin Stefanski faces the toughest decision of his coaching career. Protect the rookie and endure more losses with Gabriel, or take the gamble and let Shedeur prove himself on the field. Because if Stefanski waits too long, he risks losing the locker room, the fan base, and possibly his job. And if he pulls the trigger too early, a single bad outing could derail Shedeur's confidence before it ever truly takes off. It's a high-stakes dilemma, one that could define the Browns' entire season. The Cleveland Browns have reached a crossroads, a point where playing it safe might be the riskiest move of all. Kevin Stefanski's decision isn't just about who starts next Sunday. It's about the direction of the franchise. Stay with Dillon Gabriel, and the team risks sinking deeper into mediocrity. Roll the dice with Shedeur Sanders, and they could either ignite a spark or light a fire they can't control. Inside the locker room, players reportedly sense the tension. Veterans want stability, someone who can execute the basics and keep the team competitive. But younger players are quietly pushing for Sanders, believing his energy and leadership could transform the offense overnight. Even analysts have joined the debate, some calling this the turning point in Stefanski's tenure. The Browns' schedule doesn't make things easier. Tough defenses loom ahead, and patience is wearing thin. Stefanski's press conferences have shifted from calm optimism to uneasy realism. When asked about the quarterback situation, his answer said it all. "Before you start winning, you've got to stop losing." That line hit home for fans and for Shedeur himself, who's reportedly been preparing as if his name could be called any day. Now, all eyes are on the Browns' next move. If they hand the reins to Shedeur Sanders, it won't just be a quarterback change, it'll be a statement, a declaration that the future starts now. But if they hesitate, the season could slip away before that future ever arrives. Because in Cleveland, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither does the fan base. Cleveland finds itself standing on the edge of a decision that could define the next decade of the franchise. The fans know it, the players feel it, and Kevin Stefanski can't escape it. The Browns are running out of time, and the question isn't whether change is needed. It's whether they have the courage to make it. Dillon Gabriel's struggles have exposed deeper cracks in the system. Predictable play calling, inconsistent protection, and a lack of identity. The offense doesn't scare anyone anymore. But every time Shedeur Sanders' name is mentioned, there's a jolt of electricity. That faint but familiar feeling Cleveland fans crave. Hope. And in a city that's lived through decades of heartbreak, hope is everything. Shedeur represents something bigger than a rookie quarterback. He represents the promise of a new era, one where the Browns stop settling for good enough and start aiming for greatness. Yes, he's unproven. Yes, there are risks. But greatness doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from believing in something before everyone else does. Analysts are calling this the make-or-break moment for Kevin Stefanski's legacy. Play it safe and stick with Gabriel, and he might preserve short-term control, but lose the long-term faith of his team. Take the leap with Sanders, and the Browns could either rise or crash spectacularly. But at least they'll be alive again. Cleveland has waited too long for a quarterback who can inspire, not just manage. Shedeur Sanders might be that player. His accuracy, poise, and leadership are undeniable. His confidence isn't arrogance, it's belief. And sometimes, belief is the only thing separating a struggling team from a winning one. The clock is ticking. Every snap, every drive, every loss brings the Browns closer to that inevitable decision. When it finally comes, one thing will be certain. Cleveland won't just be choosing a quarterback, they'll be choosing their future. So, what do you think, Browns fans? Is it time to give Shedeur Sanders the reins, or should the team stay patient a little longer? One way or another, the next move will shape everything that comes next.